Are you working with a lawyer and wondering, maybe it's time to part ways? Well, I can tell you as a lawyer myself, exactly what you should know if you're thinking about moving on to a different lawyer. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what those signs are. Hi, I'm Rebecca Zung, and I have actually been recognized as one of the top attorneys in the country, and I've written a couple of best-selling books, Negotiate Like You Matter and Breaking Free, a step-by-step divorce guide, and I've helped millions of people through this YouTube channel and in my SLAY programs and all of my resources, help them to negotiate their way out of drama, trauma, and chaos so that they could step into lives of freedom, possibility, and purpose. And if that's what you want, make sure you hit subscribe and hit that notification bell. And that way you'll get notified when I upload new content. So let's talk about, you're working with a lawyer and maybe you've got a narcissist on the other side. And so you're already steeped in drama, trauma, and chaos. And I can tell you, after having done a survey in my Facebook group, which, by the way, if you want to join, it's Narcissist Negotiators with Rebecca Zung. But I did a survey in there and asked them questions about how long does it take? How long did your litigation take with a narcissist? And how much did it cost you? And a huge percentage of people said it cost them over $100,000 and more than 3 years. So, you know, when an average divorce costs $15,000, and we're talking about an average with a narcissist is over $100,000, you know, you've got to be able to rein this person in. And I can tell you one thing for sure is that 99.9% of lawyers don't understand narcissism. You know, they haven't taken the time to really learn it the way I have and really understand the dynamic of what motivates and incentivizes narcissists. It's not what most people think. It's not even necessarily winning. Because winning to a narcissist means that they're no longer able to suck narcissistic supply out of you. So they continue to litigate, even if they say they want to settle, even if they say you're the one dragging it out, because making you squirm, making you feel intimidated, upsetting you, dragging you through the mud, gives them narcissistic supply. And if you want to know more about what narcissistic supply is specifically, you can definitely check out my video on that. But it's anything that feeds their ego. It's what they feed on. It's their lifeblood, their oxygen. It's their water. It's their source of life. They don't feel like they have any value unless they are sucking narcissistic supply from people or situations around them. So they continue to jerk you through the court system. And sometimes your attorney is part of that whole manipulation and scheme. Not willingly, certainly unwittingly most of the time, but they don't realize that they're just being led by the nose by this master manipulator. And so, you know, one of the things you definitely want to make sure that you have with the narcissist, with your lawyer, is that they will have your back. That they're going to be willing to learn about narcissism, that they're going to be willing to understand what drives them, what motivates them. And, you know, in my SLAY program, I have all kinds of resources that you can show to your lawyer and help your lawyer to understand what it is that you're dealing with and who it is that they are going to be dealing with so that they don't make mistakes in the litigation. So you want a lawyer who's going to have your back. And you want a lawyer who's going to be willing to learn about narcissism, who's going to be willing to understand what they're dealing with and act accordingly. Okay, so that's the first thing. If this lawyer doesn't have your back, then it's time to go. So the next thing that you are going to be looking for is if your lawyer is accessible or writes you back or communicates with you. You know, is the lawyer communicating with you? Because if you can't get in touch with your lawyer for days and days on end, then this is definitely not the lawyer for you, especially when you're dealing with a high stakes, high conflict personality. So, you know, I know when I was practicing on a full-on basis, what I would do, especially because I was extremely, extremely busy, I would carry more than 50 cases at a time at my height, and all high net worth, high complex, very, highly litigated cases. And so I had a system which was, you know, my paralegal was to be copied on every single email. And if I were in court or in mediation or, you know, in a place where I wasn't going to be available, my paralegal would write to them right away and say, she's in court, she's not available today, let's set up a call for, you know, Wednesday at 10 a.m. or something like that. Or I would come up with a plan with my clients. You know, if some of the clients would, you know, send me 10 or 12 emails a day, sometimes even 50 emails a day. And so, you know, if that was the case, I would come up with a plan with those clients like, okay, you're going to keep all of your stuff that you want to talk to me about, keep a notebook, and we're going to talk, you know, on every Friday at 4 p.m. or even every day at 4 p.m. or whatever. We would set a time so that they would know, okay, at that time, I'm going to be able to talk to her. And at that time, I'm going to be able to ask her what I need to. So, you know, coming up with a plan like that, you know, right from the beginning, where you establish, how am I going to be able to communicate with you? What's the best thing? But if you have a lawyer that is not willing to do that and they don't return calls for days on end, and now it's 2 weeks later and you still haven't heard from them, that is definitely a sign that you want to get rid of that lawyer. And if you think that a lawyer should definitely have your back, give me an amen in the comments. Okay, so the next thing that you can look for and a sign as to whether or not you should fire this lawyer is whether or not they're fighting for you. Are they fighting for you? Are they out there? Do you feel like they're an advocate? Do you feel like they're up in front of this thing? Or are they kind of hanging back and are they kind of like not sure about whether or not to move forward? Or are they kind of, you know, letting things go and not really listening to the things that you're saying? Then that's not, especially when you're dealing with a narcissist, you cannot have that kind of lawyer. You need somebody who's strong, who's going to advocate for you. And the next thing is whether or not their billing practices are good. So, you know, you should be receiving a bill from them every single month, and it should be correct, and it should have very specific time entries. And if you're not receiving that on a regular basis, then that's definitely going to be a problem. I mean, I know some lawyers who are so disorganized that they will only send out bills like, I don't know, every 6 months or 9 months, and it's like not on a regular basis, and their time entries are very, very general, you know, working on client's case or something like that, but not saying exactly what it is that they're doing. That's really, really not the greatest. So I definitely would say that is a sign that you want to get rid of that particular lawyer. So those are just some signs that you should probably part ways with your lawyer. In my Slay Your Negotiation course, I do have ways that you can find a lawyer that understands narcissism in your particular area, and you can learn more about that at slayyournegotiation.com if you want to know about that. If you are getting ready to negotiate with a narcissist, make sure to grab my free Crush My Negotiation prep worksheet at winmynegotiation.com. If you are negotiating with a narcissist and you want more support, join me in my free private Facebook group, Narcissist Negotiators with Rebecca Zung. If you like this video, give it a like, give it a share, drop me that comment. You know, lawyers need to be good. Amen. And make sure that you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can get notified when I upload new videos. Thanks so much for joining me today. Remember, today is a great day to start negotiating your best life. I'll see you in the next video.